Good evening, everyone. It is April 21st, just past midnight over on the East Coast. And before we get into what we are looking for tomorrow, let's get into what we had today. We opened on a large gap down. We closed for the fourth day in a row yesterday at 75-ish, 78, whatever it was. And today we opened way down at 45-ish. I had mentioned that I had been looking to get long off of 44s all week. I'd been mentioning that 44 number, and you can see it really did work well around that Globex time, that pre-market, catching a bit at that 43 or 44. So we held last week's VWAP close, and then we ended up closing the gap. Now, I'd been looking for a short at 60.5. I thought that could sell down a little bit, but I wanted to see a much more vertical move into there. So we did get a partial sell-off. However, we end up holding that 53-ish number and instead ramping on upwards. Ramping to that 72, which was critical yesterday, which also lined up with yesterday's VWAP close. And after that, it was just a liquidation downwards, holding that whatever it was, this double bottom here, this Friday. Yeah, last Friday we held that last Friday low. Also corresponds with the Q1 close. So held that, and then shorts just covered this thing right into the close. So this is our first time with a close below 75 for a while, and the first time closing below a day prior's low in quite a while. In fact, I can't even remember the last time we've done that. I was looking for today to be one of those sorts of days where you get a move up and a liquidation. That's what we had. So by all means, we've kind of done what I was looking for. However, I wasn't really happy with how long this liquidation took. I wasn't happy that it took until 2 p.m. or so, and we weren't really able to break anything. We held 41.38. I thought we would get maybe a little bit lower there, but unable to do so. Now on the NQ, similar story. Here's the daily chart just on the right. You can see we're still balancing above that February high, that 958 area, just balancing there back and forth, back and forth. And what I was looking for on the NQ was if we breached, maybe it's better on this chart to just really see it. Same idea. I think we had a small gap down on the NQ. I was looking if we breach that whatever it was 122-ish number, which we held for quite a while, and I was short there. I thought if we breach this number, we would start making our way up to the VWAP close, which was at 158, I believe. Got a nice sell-off, and then we moved on upwards to the number I'd said yesterday, which was 199.75, just this critical resistance, which we then auctioned around, and then we sold off of perfect. I got short there, and unfortunately, I only took it for 25 points, and clearly I should have maybe taken it for 100. Anyway, same idea. We kind of held these Globex lows and ramped up, short covered into the close. So, although, yeah, we did have our ramp and liquidation, and it's nice to see us below this 100-ish number, I can't help but feel that the sell-off is a little incomplete. At the same time, the ES has a double bottom going back to that last Friday session. We have a double bottom, a relatively low close. Breadth has been mediocre for several days now, and it's turning down on things like the McClellan oscillator. So overall, we're starting to get this scenario of lower highs and lower lows after getting higher lows and higher highs. We're now getting lower lows and lower highs. So to me, just like how bulls needed to get a move on this thing, we now need bears to get a move on this thing. They need to start moving their way down and breaking out of this balance on both tickers. So with all of that in mind, how am I looking to play this thing? Let's go over onto the ES first. I want to be long 41.75 before tagging the 63 area. The idea being if we get up there, I don't want to see us come all the way down and then try and get long. Ideally, we open somewhere around 50, tag this demand zone if you want to call it, where we had shorts trying to aggressively get into the hole before that cover and squeeze into the close. So I want to be long 41s below there. I want to be long this prior auction from last Thursday, around 30.32 below there. Not interested in anything for tomorrow. Over on the and not interested on anything to the short side, just because I am conscious of that double bottom, meaning that in general, I think we could very well make our way up to breaking today's highs and getting more so up into the 88 area again. Now, over on the NQ, similar story. I don't want to be short. I mean, that 311 is a ways away. I don't think that's hitting tomorrow. But I do want to be long at 070 quarter. Just last week's point of control, which has just been a really nice spot, as you can see several times, even holding the bid during that liquidation sell-off, getting a 30-ish point bounce. So I want to be long 070. It's just a nice spot in general. Below there, I want to be long that same idea, that same auction, 046. Below there, getting long 970.5. Last week's 95% value area low. Notably, the NQ's weekly VWAP is, I think it's somewhere around 150 or 160. So as we get into these lower numbers, we're getting quite extended to the downside relative to the VWAP that we've developed. In other words, trading 070, 046, 970, these are numbers that will be around the third standard deviation of VWAP to the downside. And in what has been quite a rotational market, I think it's more likely that we mean revert back towards the middle. So that's all I'm really looking at for tomorrow. I'm not too interested much. I'll also take 909s long, but really not interested a lot in this large balance area. I've shorted the heck out of this 200 area enough times, and I think if we get up there again, we'll be moving our way up to something like this, I don't know, 270-ish area. So that's all I'm looking for. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4 long setups, 3 long setups on the ES. Not interested on the short side at all. I think on the ES, if we start getting above about 55, 55 or 57, 57 being settlement lows, if we start to breach that 57 area, I think I think this could very well turn around and become a trend up day, where you have those shorts getting squeezed into the close, and you need to have the pressure applied like it is right now. Right now we're trading around 41.55, and we are capping that 57 area currently. I think that's what bears need to do, is keep a tight lid on this thing. Otherwise, we're going to have another ramp up towards that 75, 80, 85, 88, that whole 75 to 88 area. Similarly on the NQ, I think it's been a little bit more distributive, sure, but similar idea. If you start to break 122, let's call it, if you start to break that number, which has been an important spot for the past couple sessions, if you start and break that, and actually it looks like it's in a decent level overall, this 122 to 140. If you start to break that, I think it's the same thing. You're dealing with a possible trend up scenario, and I just don't want to be fading that on a Friday. So hope that makes sense. A little convoluted, sorry, but hope that helps. And I'm sure there'll be an update to this pre-market tomorrow. Other than that, trade safe and have a great night.